Hello and welcome to Fashion Fest, the Makeover Takeover edition. This is our 5th night of Rhode Island Fashion Week, and for tonight our virtual fashion show is all about sustainability in fashion. So I want to celebrate that as part of this whole week. My name is Yemi Shakoni, founder and executive producer of Rhode Island Fashion Week, and I'm going to be your host for the evening. So I'm glad to be here again, and I'm glad that you can join us. So what we've got tonight, we have 3 thrifters that we challenged with a budget of $25 to go shopping for an outfit that they would wear to Fashion Week. Can you imagine that? 25 bucks. We're going to see what they do, where they go, and just basically the process of how they came up with the outfit at the end of the show. We also will have actually all 3 guests later on in an interview with Christy Raymond. She's the owner and director of Humankind Casting and our media and communications director at Rhode Island Fashion Week. So she's going to be talking with them and asking them about that process. You do not want to miss that. Lots of tips, lots of tricks. And if you have any thoughts, any comments, anything you'd like to add to the conversation, please add them into the chat box, into the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts, and we'll respond if you ask a question. And then at the end of the show, we'll see the big reveal. Now that you do not want to miss. So enjoy the show.
Hello, Rhode Island Fashion Week. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Laura Christensen, and I'm a lifelong thrifter and advocate and supporter of secondhand fashion. I've been a thrifter for most of my adult life, and I've always loved putting outfits together found at the thrift stores, consignment, yard sales, anywhere secondhand. About 3 years ago, I decided to take that passion to help other people, and I started a personal styling business focused on secondhand fashion. I help people curate their dream wardrobes with secondhand pieces found in thrift stores, consignment stores, yard sales, even using items in their own closet that they were having trouble styling on their own. I like to call myself a sustainable stylist. This passion led me to starting a Facebook group along with one of my really good friends who is also a thrifter. It's called the Sustainably Styled Squad, and it's a group for everyone who has a passion for secondhand fashion. About 7 months ago, I joined the board of a thrift shop called the Magic Hat Thrift Shop. It's located in my town, Marblehead, Massachusetts. The money made at the Magic Hat selling donated items goes back to the public schools of Marblehead. This money is allocated to the public schools PTAs and PTOs to use for enrichment programs. We allocate money twice a year, and this year we were able to allocate our biggest check yet, $100,000. Since the start of the Magic Hat Thrift Shop in 2006, we have allocated over $1.5 million to our schools. My passion for secondhand and sustainable fashion has led me to this amazing organization that I'm incredibly proud to be a part of. We are creating impact through thrifting. I truly believe that the success of the Magic Hat Thrift Shop comes with the popularity of secondhand and sustainable fashion.
Hi, I'm Sarah McCrell, mother of 5 and a nurse midwife from Holden, Massachusetts. I've been a longtime thrifter and vintage clothes shopper. Welcome to my closet. One of my favorite things to thrift are summer dresses. I also love finding vintage Anthropologie. For a perfect fall look, I like to pair the vest with buttery soft Frye boots that have been worn in even before I bought them. Can't find vintage clothing that fits you? Then find some fabric and make your own dress. With a little bit of sewing skills, it's possible. From fancy to casual, thrifting can be sustainable, affordable, and fun. I accept the $25 challenge to go shopping and find a new outfit at a thrift store. Come on, let's go.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Stefan Richardson. I'm here for the Thrifter Challenge. Before I tell you where I'm going to thrift at today, I'll give you a little background of who I am and where I'm from. I'm originally from Curacao. If you know where that's at, it's a small island in the coast of South America and the Caribbean. How I kind of got into thrifting is when I was little, my mom kind of used to dress me a lot. So she would like tell me you have to combine neutral colors with neutral colors in that aspect. So my color palette is really thanks to my mom. So thank you, Mom. But of course, when you grow up, you want to find your own style and stuff of that sort. So before I decided to move to the United States when I was 16, I would go into my granddad's closet and kind of look at his clothing selections, because he had like a huge clothing selection from all across the world, mainly from Europe, to be honest. But I would go in there and I would look and see what I would like, and I would kind of like grab stuff I liked and ask him if I could keep them. And of course, he would at least say go ahead and take them. So that was kind of my first thrifting experience. Before I kind of actually got into thrifting, I would thrift for free, basically in my granddad's closet. So moving to the United States, obviously clothing in like retail stores used to be expensive for me because I was 16, so I didn't really have money to spend like $50 on one clothing item. So I would go to thrift stores and kind of implement that same experience I did with my granddad into thrift stores, and that kind of helped me got the style I am today.
Now, continuing with the trending Y2K fashion, that's going to transfer into fall and winter of 2022, according to all the articles that I've read. So for my thrift challenge, I wanted to find an outfit that had elements of the trends that will be trending in fall and winter of 22-23. So the types of trends I'll be looking for the Y2K are ruching or gathering, cutouts, mini, maybe like that sheer mesh material. So I think we'll be pretty lucky today. I see these kinds of trends all over in every thrift store that I go into. So let's go in and see what I can find. Of course, it only made sense that I would do my thrifting at the Magic Hat thrift shop. The Magic Hat is located in the basement of the Veterans Middle School in Marblehead, Massachusetts. I got a little distracted when I saw this adorable shacket. I just had to try it on. I almost always head to look in the dresses first when I'm thrift shopping. This lime green floor-length dress caught my eye immediately. It has adorable little embroidered roses on it. It didn't necessarily have any of the trends that I was looking for, but it was speaking to me and it was totally inspiring, and I thought that maybe I could alter it into something a little more Y2K. Because I'm short, there was a ton of fabric, so I knew there were options. I got distracted again by this 90s Guess jacket. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I did see some pieces with the Y2K trends, like this ruching on this white dress. I also found cutouts and even a little see-through mesh. But after trying on this green dress, it fit like a glove, and I knew I wanted to take it home to see what I could do with it.
We're at the Threadbare show. Come on. Here we are at Abby's Thrift Shop. It's one of my favorite thrift stores in Worcester. It's a nonprofit that contributes to a women's shelter. So I love supporting them. Let's go thrift. Vintage fry clogs. I gotta see what size they are. Got a whole lot of finds. That's some navy pants. Wear to work. For a birthday. And then what I really need is just some all casual. Thrifting's always more fun when you have these two. It's to entertain you. At Sweet Jane's Consignment, they specialize in high-end consignment here in downtown Worcester. Lots of my thrifting adventures happen here at the Worcester Goodwill store. It's great for donating clothes and also supporting the community. Goodwill's always great for deals. It has good music.
So today we're thrifting at Urban Renewal. It's in Rosendale, Massachusetts. I believe we have $25 to spend today to pick out our thrifter outfit. So take a walk with me and we'll go inside.
All right, you met Laura, Stefan, and Sarah. You've gone shopping with them, you saw the pieces they picked up. That was a lot of fun, right? Now you're going to see the big reveal. But before you do, here they are speaking with Christy Raymond, owner and director of Humankind Casting and Media and Communications Director for Rhode Island Fashion Week. Very enlightening conversation. And then after that, the big reveal. Stay tuned.
Hi everyone, my name is Christy and I am with Rhode Island Fashion Week, and we are here with our thrifters who were part of our Thrifter Challenge this year for our season 11. Today I have Stefan Richardson and Laura Christensen with us, and we're going to ask them a few questions about their thrifting style and approach. So I'm going to set this first question towards you, Laura. What are the things you look for when you're thrift shopping?
So when I've kind of evolved as a thrifter. So when I first started, I think the thrill of getting something so cheap kind of overlooked like what I was actually bringing home. So I was bringing home things that I really wasn't going to wear. So as I've evolved and grown up a little bit, I try to thrift with a mission. So I have a running thrift wish list of things that I eventually want to find. It could take years sometimes for me to find these things, but those are always running in the back of my mind. And then a lot of the times when I go thrifting, I'll go with a mission like I want to find something in this style or something that's trending right now, or I'm really looking for vintage. Like, no, Laura, you can't bring home anything that's not vintage. It's just, I think, can be a problem created by thrifters. So I always try to have some kind of a game plan when I go thrifting. So it's different every time.
That's really great. I like that approach quite a bit. You're really with a plan and a mission in mind. Stefan, how about you? What are some of the things you look for when you're thrift shopping?
I honestly, when I usually go to thrift stores, I really don't have anything I'm specifically looking for. Let's say like if it's fall, like if I want to add like a long coat or something, that's like the only time I'll go like with something in mind. But usually I just go and like walk around and see whatever I find. Sometimes I find good stuff, sometimes I don't. But like usually I don't have anything because like sometimes I feel like when you go there and like you have like this specific garment or wardrobe on mind and you don't end up finding it, you're gonna leave disappointed. And I usually used to be like that when I started. So like I try to like stay away from that because sometimes I'll be like, wow, this was like a horrible thrift day, which is something I don't like.
That's an interesting approach too. I find that sometimes when I have something in mind when I'm shopping in general, I just can't seem to find it. But I like the idea of starting that wish list. So no matter what you find on that list, it would be a successful thrifting day. How about red flags? I know that's sort of an odd question, but are there any red flags that sort of stand out as you're thrifting? Things that maybe you would advise somebody else to keep an eye out for if they're looking for certain garments. And I'll start with you, Stefan, if I could.
Honestly, obviously stains are like a huge red flag, but like if like the stitching as well is kind of loose, like sometimes like buttons might end up falling off. For me, like let's say like if I go with like a shirt or something and if it doesn't fit the proportions to my rest of my outfit, like I usually put it back because every time I pick out something, like I will like create an outfit in my head. And like if it doesn't like look the right way, because like in thrift stores, you really can't like fit, like you can't try stuff on. So you usually gotta like guess if it's gonna sit right, because then you can't return them or you have to just donate them again. So that's like kind of my red flag. So like how I think it will fit on.
Excellent. Great. And Laura, what would you have to say about red flags?
I love how different our answers are. Stains don't deter me, because I think part of that sustainability aspect, like you mend, you can alter it. You can, like if it's stained on the bottom, I'll crop it if it's something that I really want to bring home. But as far as a red flag of something I will not bring home, no matter how wonderful the garment is dry rot. Because as soon as you launder it, the fabric will literally fall apart, especially with your vintage. So that's probably my only one red flag that I just, no matter how amazing it is, I won't bring it home.
So tell me a little bit about how you would identify that rot.
Sometimes it's really hard to identify it because obviously I've learned from my mistakes. I bring something home and like I go to soak it and it just like literally falls apart in the water. Usually it's like the feel for me. It's basically when it's like overexposed to moisture and then it doesn't completely dry. And then like you can usually see it's like there's mold on it. It's like moldy, moldy and yucky feeling. So I mean, I have friends that are very, very knowledgeable about this, and that's how like I've learned. We have a great community online that we just learn from each other. So it's you can only take what they tell you and go with it. Like, so sometimes I'm wrong and it is what it is, but that's my red flag.
Now, Laura, I want to ask, I know you mentioned it in your video that you shared with us, but you mentioned that you have a Facebook thrifting group, and I'd love for you to share that information. Stefan, I'd love for you to join it if you're not
I would love to have
on it. I think it'd be great. So if you could share that information with us once again, I want to be sure everybody gets to hear that.
So it's called the Sustainably Styled Squad. And it's basically, it's anyone who loves vintage and thrifted fashion. I didn't want to, like, we have a lot of like pure vintage lovers, but I didn't want to exclude the current fashion because I'm a lover of that too. So it's anything secondhand. And it's a place where we have a lot of resellers. So if they're allowed to post on the group, but we really encourage people to share their secondhand looks for the day. Did they find something amazing and they want to just post and share about it? It's just a safe place for us to like learn, and that's where I've learned a lot of the knowledge I have when it comes to thrifting, especially with vintage. So yeah, we're on Facebook, the Sustainably Styled Squad, and we'd love to have you.
Oh, great. Excellent. I guess another question that I've heard a lot of folks ask when we were doing this challenge, what do you look for specific brands? I mean, or can you, obviously we can identify certain brands by their logos that could be on products, but maybe those ones that are hidden and that you more know by fabric or style or design. Do you ever go out in search of particular brands that really work for you? Stefan, I'll start with you on that one.
Yes and no, like because like it's like a miss or hit type of situation. Because like the best like pick I got from thrift was like a Burberry like vintage coat that was before Burberry became Burberry's, like when they had like silhouettes. So like that was my best find. But like usually like you'll like go through, sometimes if you like go through the racks, if you go too fast you might miss something. So I kind of like go 3 or 4 times, but like usually I don't go. Like if I find something good, I do. But like the one time I went to find something like a coat, I found a Burberry's coat. So
Nice.
I mean, it depends on your luck, to be honest.
So you go across all brands. You like everything.
Yeah, I kind of like everything. I usually don't lean like when thrifting, I really don't lean towards like brand and stuff like that. Because I feel like you can find like something that looks similar to a brand that you like. And like at the point, it's like, it's the same. It's just that it's not the same thing.
Right. And how about you, Laura?
I have to agree with Stefan. I don't like look specifically for brands. I like to shop with my hands. So like I like to feel fabrics, especially if I don't have a lot of time. Like Stefan said, you want to look through everything because there could be that special gem. But usually you can tell if a brand's really good based on like the feel of the fabric. And then, you see something, sometimes you can tell by the tag, even if you're not familiar with that brand. So, you'll look it up on your phone, and if you're like, oh, wow, I found this really amazing gem. So it's like Stefan, I like to shop based on more style versus brand, but like while you're shopping and you feel something, you're like, oh, I know this is something good. And then you look it up and then you find like you have a treasure on your hands.
That is great. That is great. Well, I thank you both so much for joining us today. And I look forward to seeing your thrifting fashions on the runway. So we also have with us Sarah McCrell, who was one of our thrifters for the Thrifter Challenge. Welcome, Sarah.
Hi.
So we have a few questions for you, and we'd love to know, what are the things you look for when you go thrift shopping?
So I basically look for anything that catches my eye. I like things that have a lot of color, that I can kind of add to basics from my wardrobe. I do really like bright, colorful dresses, but also like a fun, like layering piece, like a jacket or sweater or something like that is really fun to find.
Now, I also noticed when you in your video, you really liked to find shoes. You commented on 2 pairs of shoes, which nobody else did. So I'd love to hear a little bit about, how do you thrift for shoes? Are there certain things that you might look for to not buy the shoe, or know that you've got a really good deal on a shoe?
Shoes are hard and they just require some patience. Like I never really go looking for shoes. I just happen to find them. I have a pretty average shoe size, I feel like. So I wear an 8.5 in women's, and so there tend to be a lot of shoes in my size. The funny thing is like in a regular store, the clearance rack, you hardly ever find 8.5s because it's pretty average. You find smaller and bigger sizes. So I typically will try a shoe on. I usually carry an extra pair of socks with me so I can do that. When I went thrifting, I actually didn't have socks. That kind of weirded me out because I usually like to clean them first. But I just happen upon shoes every once in a while. I'm never seeking them out. They just find me, I guess.
When you talk about pieces that you're adding to your wardrobe, like, do you have to sort of have this visual like memory of what's in your closet? How does that work? I mean, I always know that I go to my closet and I forget that I even have things in there. And to be at thrifting and to remember what I have that I'm trying to pair with, I'd love to have you talk to that a little bit.
Well, I like keeping basics, and I had mentioned that. So, having a nice pair of like navy, office pants, black, gray, maybe brown, khaki, just having, a current pair available, having like tank tops that I can wear underneath blouses or shirts or sweaters, something like that. So all the neutral colors and navy. I have a dark green one, and actually a red one too. So you can mix it up, but just knowing that. And, as far as pants, I'll replace them. I really like, even Old Navy has pixie cut pants, and they fit me well. They don't last forever, and the darker colors do tend to fade. As a little trick, I'll sometimes re-dye them using RIT at home, so I can get a couple of years out of them, and I think that that's helpful. But they've had those pants, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 years, and so every couple of years I buy a new pair if I need to.
Great. Are there any red flags that you sort of watch for when you're looking at garments or shoes?
I think the biggest thing that I'm particular about is the scent of clothing. So if something's really old and it's sat in like mothballs in a closet or an attic for a while, that is really bothersome to me. So I tend to sniff everything. Same with smoke. If there's smoke damage on the clothing, I tend to avoid it. Also, really heavy fabric softeners. So every once in a while, because it sticks in the clothing, and a lot of those fragrances give me a headache. And I'm just, I guess, sensitive to smells. So that's one thing. I'm not so worried. I mean, I look for stains if it's a busy pattern, which I tend to like busy pattern and bright colors. So I may get something home and it has like a little stain, but if I didn't notice it in the store, somebody else probably isn't going to notice it. And I have some tips for trying to get out stains. The other thing I really am particular about checking is zippers. So anything with a zipper, I usually slide up and down a couple times. If it's getting caught on fabric, I may not get it because that might be annoying. If it's starting to break, I have to kind of think about, like, is it worth taking it home and putting a new zipper in it, or paying to get a new one put in? I do some sewing myself, but I don't have a whole lot of time for that. And it can be expensive. You can spend like $15, $20 for a new zipper on an item that you paid $5 for. If it's something really nice that you really want, it might be worth it. So you got to weigh the benefits to that.
Great. When you go out, do you sort of try to identify some different brands? I know you mentioned Anthropologie in your video. Is that a particular brand that you like, that you feel like you've got a real win when you find something like that? Are there certain brands that you look for?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's some brands that stand the test of time and are just kind of fun to collect. Anthropologie are brands that Anthropologie has had, which some of those I have to research, but if they're old and they have like a real tag in them, it's kind of fun, and I don't know, just nostalgic for me. And I'm always pointing it out to my daughters, like, "Ooh, look, a real tag." They don't really care as much as I do, but I just think it's fun to see that, the threading written out on the tags is cool. I really like Fry boots. I really like Fossil bags. So some of their leather bags, but I also like their kind of plastic coated or rubber coated bigger bags are really durable. They're good for like a work bag. You can throw them around and wipe them down and stuff. So I look for those. My daughters really like to find vintage Levi's. That's super exciting for them. I'm trying to think what other brands we kind of look for, but LL Bean, The Loft, like old LL Bean stuff. I've gotten lots of ski stuff for my kids, jackets, and those last forever. And you used to be able to exchange them, even if you consign them, but they've kind of cracked down on that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure. I want to go back to the Anthropologie. I didn't realize that they have brands like within their brand. So you mentioned, so if you were there and you saw something that you weren't quite sure, would you actually do any research there in the store? Do you pull out your phone and try to look up that brand? Is that something you do, or does it matter? You sort of feel like it probably comes from there.
I have done that before. It just depends where I'm shopping. One of the shops in Worcester, she's the one that pointed that out to me, because she was like, "Oh, that dress is like an Anthropologie brand." And I didn't even really realize that. I love Anthropologie. I get their newsletters, and I used to get like their catalog in the mail. I don't even know if they have it anymore, but it's super pricey and like out of my range. So, but I like their funky items. And so I've bought dresses that I know have come from them. And I do pull out my phone, and every once in a while, like in a higher end consignment shop, I might look up an item on eBay just to get a price point. Like, am I paying too much for this? Yeah.
Nice. Terrific. Any advice you might give someone who has thrifting on their mind and doesn't really know where to begin?
I would say my biggest piece of advice is like watch the sizes, because, for example, an 8 in women's from the 80s is going to fit more like a 4 to 6 now. And that might be a little generous, but you just want to make sure you try on things. Another tip that I sometimes do, especially with dresses, is you can take the waistband and put it around your neck. So if you take like the right side and the left side of a waistband and put it around your neck, it should fit your waist. So that's an easy, if you're like at a yard sale or something, or at, you know, like an antique market and there's no dressing room. You can always do that as a tip. It doesn't work for everyone, but it is a good kind of estimate. But you just want to be mindful of that. And even if you're buying like an oversized, like men's flannel shirt or something, and you want it kind of long, and you'll probably want to like go up a size, even if it's a men's, because I look at like a men's large from the 80s would never fit my husband who wears a men's large. It's just funny. So.
The cuts certainly have changed.
Yeah, for sure.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much for your time, Sarah. It was lovely talking to you, and happy thrifting.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to my closet / sewing crafting room. So I'm going to do a little brainstorming and figure out what I'm going to do with this green dress. This style mini dress is my inspiration for what I want to do with my green dress. Here she is in all her beauty. She is a lot of fabric. She's raw silk with an acetate lining, and she has little embroidered yellow roses. I absolutely love this. I know it might be a little more 90s than Y2K, but I feel like we can make it into a Y2K fashionable piece. I took a mini dress that fits me pretty well and just laid it on top to just get a feel of where I wanted to make the hemline. I marked my hemline on both the lining and the outer shell of this dress and cut it, and then did some sewing. I definitely underestimated how difficult it would be to work with this fabric. The lining is acetate, a little bit shiny and slippery, and the outer shell was raw silk. My experience with sewing is limited really to slight alterations. I've never really made clothes, so I'm sure I'm not using the proper techniques, but it's a challenge I'm ready to take on. I used my seam ripper to rip open the straps because I knew I wanted to change the neckline into more of a square neckline. I just did a little tucking while I had the dress on to see where I wanted to pin so then I could hem. Once I hemmed, I tried the dress on and liked where everything was sitting, so next I decided to make some thick straps with some of the extra fabric. Again, with the dress on, I just measured where I wanted the straps. I had a lot of fabric left over, so I was feeling brave and decided to attempt to make a matching bucket hat. I found a free pattern online and traced out 2 sets, both with the outer shell and the acetate lining. Once they were both constructed, I sewed both of them together so the hat was complete.
Here's my new fall outfit that I found at Abby's. My favorite are the fossil clogs. Perfect. With my leftover money, I found this shirt and this kimono to match these yellow golden pants that I've had in my closet for a while, and I didn't really have a top to go with them. Makes a cute outfit. Thank you for picking me to be a part of this thrifting challenge. It's been lots of fun, and I'm so excited to be a part of Rhode Island Fashion Week. Thanks.
Here's my finished look. I am extremely happy how everything turned out. I love the thought of finding something at the thrift store and turning it into something unique and something that you'll love and wear. So take this as your sign to go find something secondhand that you can wear and love right off the rack or alter into something brand new like I did.
And that wraps tonight's show, folks. I hope you have had fun. Please visit our website, fashionweekri.com, to see the rest of the lineup for tomorrow and Saturday, and pick what day or both that you want to come and get your tickets. Now, you can watch the show in person, meaning you're going to be there, or if you can't make it in person, we actually will be streaming live, so you can watch it in the comfort of your home. You still need to go to the website in order to get the ticket so you can get the link, but whatever way you do it, we would just be happy to have you. Now, for those of you that might be looking to come in person, or if you weren't thinking of, here's a little bit of motivation. The thrifters are going to be attending the shows in person. So if you'd like to meet them or just come and see what they put together, what they wore, come to the show. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of the week. Have a wonderful night, and thanks again for spending your evening with us.